So I'm so excited today to have Lindsay Lynch, a life coach and founder of the Balance Bureau. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay, this is the Millionaire Mom Method. What I like to focus on here is inspire others, teach others, and grow together. That is my big mission in life, that if we can all share our resources, we rise together, right? That is my big motto in life. Awesome. So with that, I love hearing origin stories. So I'd love to hear do you feel like there was a moment or usually a multitude of moments that kind of got you into what you do or that you were like, oh my God, this is a huge transformation. I got to share it with the world.
Yes, and I agree with you about being resourceful. It's one of my most important traits in this world is collecting and sharing resources.
Helpful. Yes.
Yes, so I
Yes.
agree with you there
Amazing.
totally.
Yes.
My origin story, it could be a long one, but it goes back quite a few years, almost 2 decades at this
Oh
point.
my goodness. Amazing.
But I am a domestic violence survivor, and with that, I had this lingering, like traumatic stress kind of thing going on, and things were piling up. I was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and I was
Mm,
very chronically ill for quite a few years. And I got to this point in my life where I was really down.
mm.
I would come home from work, burn out from that job, and just lay on my couch. And I had two young children, and I couldn't keep living like that, just going to work and sleeping until the next day.
Yeah.
Um, I was really down and out. It was a very dark place in my life, and I was just like so sick of my own crap at
Sure.
this one point. And I was like, you know what? Let's start with therapy. Let's just
Yes.
throw it out there and see what
Yeah.
happens. The worst that
Yeah.
could happen is that it wasn't a good experience and I do
Yes.
something else. But
Yes.
it ended up changing the entire trajectory of my life.
Oh my
I
gosh.
started with, it was my all-time favorite approach. It is reality therapy or choice theory with
Mm.
William Glasser. And my therapist kept giving me resources and she would let me borrow books all about the theory. And the one time I read it, it was Take Charge of Your Life by William Glasser. It's my favorite, all-time favorite
Mm.
and recommendation for
Ooh.
anyone.
I
But
have to look at that.
the first time I read it, I was like, this is BS. Like there's
Uh-huh.
no way that I get to choose how I feel. There's no way that I'm in control of all of the things that it's saying I'm in control of, right? And I told my
Yes.
therapist the next session, I was like, so I started reading the book and it's crap. Like
Ah,
you're you're telling
good
me
for you. A
that
little
like
pushback.
all of
Yeah.
this will change my life and I just don't
Yeah.
believe you. And she goes,
Yeah.
Lindsay, go sit with the book again. And I was like, okay. So
Um,
I reread it from like a different, I was like, okay, let me open my mind to change
wow.
and possibility. And I was like, I started seeing how all the words on these pages could directly correlate with what I was going through in my life. And it changed everything for me.
Wow. What on earth made you allow yourself to be open-minded? Was it that particular therapist where you just like respected her and you were like, okay, I'll do it for you?
It was, I went to her with like three very specific concerns, and she handed me this book. And then in that session, she was like, just like allow yourself to see a different way. And I was like, okay, fine. And
Wow.
that alone was life-changing for me. And
That's
within a
amazing.
couple months, I would log on and I'd have some questions, and I ended up coaching her through our
Oh,
sessions. And she's like, you're meant for this work. Why don't you go start with your life coach
wow.
certification? And I was like,
Okay,
okay.
whatever.
And I'm
Whatever
not
that is.
like a stranger to hearing that. My whole
Yeah.
life, I've had people come up to me and just randomly talk to me about things. And my
Wow.
favorite story is the one of the McDonald's where I was walking to the restroom and this elder woman stopped me. And it was to talk about my tattoo. And I get a lot of questions about that already. But
Oh,
she
sure.
was like, tell me more about that. And then I started talking to her, but then the conversation shifted from that to her going into
Oh my
so
God.
many of her life problems. Like
Oh my gosh.
her daughter was having a hard time, and I still remember it. Like, and this
Wow.
was like probably 15 years ago or so.
Oh my
And I
gosh.
still remember it. And it's just, it
That's
happens
crazy.
to me all the time. I'm the person that everyone in the family goes to. You know,
Wow.
I have people come up to me and just talk to me. And
Yeah.
I guess it's just my natural gift of
Energy.
listening and just hearing
Yeah.
people so much differently than they're used to.
Yeah.
And I know even you and I, like you said, I ask really good questions, but it's
Yes.
because I hear things that most don't
Yes.
hear. Um,
Amazing.
so that's kind of how it got started, was me
Yes.
being so sick of my own shit, for lack of a better word,
Yes.
to changing my life and being able to embrace who I am, which was very
Amazing.
difficult for me.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. And then you also felt like you have this gift. I must need to share it with the
Yep.
world now that you felt better about yourself or whatever.
Yep. I've walked the
Amazing.
walk and here I
Yeah.
am.
That's so amazing. And a couple things come up as you were saying. I was like, oh my gosh. So, as the person that everyone goes to, how on earth do you, now you have children, and how on earth do you set boundaries? Because if you're getting that in your free time and you're also doing that for a job and your children need you, how on earth do you, right, find time to yourself or set boundaries to be like, yo, I don't want to talk about you right now or whatever, right? How do you set that boundary for yourself?
Yeah, I'm big on boundaries, but it's also the perspective and the lens of people don't know your
Yeah,
boundaries unless
sure.
they're like
Yeah,
vocalized
of
and
course.
putting out there. So I like to think of boundaries as like the invisible dog fence. And
Yeah.
it's like, so the dog knows where the boundary is, and hypothetically speaking, you're the
Oh,
dog. Like, you know where that line is.
yeah.
Other people coming into the property, they have
Do
no
not.
idea.
Yeah, other dogs, other people,
Yeah,
anybody. Yeah.
they don't know. So
Interesting.
often I will allow whoever needs me to come need me, and I give myself like set times of the day to where, okay, this is flexible. I might be in the
Yeah.
middle of something, but until this time, I'm here. If you need to bounce off me, it's fine, but at this time, I'm unavailable.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I set myself up, and I know that that
Yeah.
doesn't work well for other people because of like the hyperfixation, or like you can't break the focus, but I do things throughout the day and like that open time that if my focus is broken, it's like, okay, I can come back to this later, like no problem. But it's
Exactly.
like, say, like recording this podcast, like this is my sacred time. At the end of the day, I have that sacred silence, and like I just turn everything off. I've lived with my phone on silent for years. Like, I don't let that dictate
Amazing.
me. Like,
Smart.
yeah, if somebody needs me, they know just keep calling and I'll answer.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
For like
But you,
client things and everything, like I
yes.
will get to you in those sacred moments that I have allotted
Yeah.
throughout the day.
Smart. That's really smart. So setting time really has helped
Yeah,
you find that boundary. That's
yeah.
awesome. And so tell us a little bit about what you do at the Balance Bureau and how you help people.
I like to really highlight my multifacetedness in my business. So not only do I have like one-to-ones and my EFT tapping package, which I know is becoming a fan
Yes,
favorite.
I love it. Yes.
But I'm also in launch mode, and this will be the first public time saying
Woo!
it,
Yeah.
of a method that I've created over my 6+ years in work and life and personal experience. I'm turning all of that method into a certification program that will be launching
Ooh.
pretty soon. So I'm very excited about that.
How exciting. How does that go? You got like accredited or you're creating this accreditation?
Yes, it is an accredited
Oh,
certificate program. So yeah,
wow.
we're very excited. I've
That's awesome.
partnered with a pretty awesome organization to bring this into full fruition and to its like best, availability, and all the language
Amazing.
that goes into it, it's just so beautiful. I'm
Amazing.
very excited to bring this fully online and to the world.
Yay. And who's it for? Who's it best for?
This will be for, I like to say, anyone that is kind of like how I started this, like sick of their own patterns, sick of their own dwelling, and they really want to get more in touch with like why they have the emotional patterns or reactions that they're having, and anyone that's looking to deepen that relationship that they have with themselves. That's
Mm,
ultimately who it's for, but it could go even deeper into professionals that want to use the method with their clients, and anyone who's in like that helping career or title that sees what others are going through and would like to help them through that emotional, I don't like to say regulation, but awareness. And
mm,
it really stems with like recognizing and being able to health, like express in a healthy way, and then
hmm
ultimately move forward from a spiral or a pattern that you're noticing, or even if you're not noticing that pattern yet, just
hmm
simply feeling that in your body and your system saying something's not right and something like needs to change, and I'm no longer scared of taking that change on head first is really like that starting point for this program.
Ooh, I love that. And that made me think of, I often say that coaches who are helping others, you're absolutely right. We can only help so much.
Yes.
And I've started to notice definitely with some of my own clients in my own work that, you can lead them to the water, but right, they can't necessarily take a drink. And so I'm wondering if they're not even aware
Mhm.
of the patterns that, right, I'm noticing that maybe you would notice, how would you pose that to them from a coaching standpoint or from a client standpoint? Hey, you're paying for my program, but if you're not able to do the work because of this block or right, some type of continued learned pattern, how
Mhm.
would you kind of approach that to be like, hey, I think Lindsay could help, or this type of program could help what? help help you.
Yeah, it's all about self-trust. So I'm huge on
Self-trust. Yeah.
building self-trust with my clients, and all of my content is based around trusting yourself and what it's like to
Yes.
meet your inner critic and not really understand why you keep hearing the inner critic and what has
Yeah.
happened to you up until this point to where you're like, what am I doing? And it's just not
Yeah.
listening to others so much, but hearing what they have to say and taking it with your perspective and what it needs to mean for
Yeah.
you. So it's
Absolutely.
really that internal shift, truly, and it is something that isn't always tangible.
Yeah.
But that's something that I'm working in with building this program is to let you see how it could be tangible. And
Yeah.
I know so frequently with mental health and mindset, it's like, oh, well, I'm not seeing the progress. And it's so easy to say that until you're in a situation and you go, holy cow, I just handled that in
Yeah.
such a different way than I ever would have before. That's your
Exactly.
tangible like guide
Yeah.
mark to say, I am building this trust with myself,
Yeah.
to hear myself, to get beyond that critic and
Yeah.
really learn more about who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm feeling.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes so much sense. And so do you have anything that you want to share as far as like little, without giving away the secret sauce, any little tips that you would like to share with our audience about how they could start to become self-aware or start to think about their inner critic and how that could maybe help them move forward?
I would just invite you to listen to yourself. And I
Mm,
know so often, like, we're looking for that next program or we're looking for
yeah.
that next download to kind of guide us, but I really believe that you have all of the tools within you. Like,
Yes,
look at
I
what
do
you
too.
have in your toolkit. If you need a different tool, that's different
Yep.
than being, like you said, guided to the water. So I want
Yes.
you to get in your own driver's seat again and let yourself drive and pick your destination and choose. It's really about like what started for me is that choice and
Yeah.
knowing that you have a choice and you get to choose, and it you could get to choose every moment of the day, you know.
Yes.
It might feel like you're driving like an uphill battle, but sit with yourself long enough to get to that point where you get to just coast and see the beauty of what you have going on already within yourself.
Yes, I love that so much because that's so true. I think we so get in autopilot, which is often, I love how you said driver's seat because I think often we are kind of in the passenger seat, kind of waiting, or we've hired certain people to help us with this, or we think, oh, they're an expert on this, so I'll wait to, kind of hear from them. Or yeah, I just don't think people are taking their power back and recognizing that they can be in the driver's seat. Absolutely, you can get support from other people, right? But you really are, no one's coming to save you. Unfortunately, it's up to you,
Yep.
right? To make the changes and to actually do the actions that feel good to you. And the only way to know that is to get inside and figure out what feels good.
Yep, and that's exactly why I closed my mastermind program because I didn't want people coming in to just another mastermind to hear my
Mm,
ideas and try to apply them to themselves. I really, truly want anyone coming into my work to understand that they
their
have the
power.
power. And
Yeah.
that's really where like that line is for me is that it's reclamation. And that's like my
Yeah.
whole movement is the reclaimed movement. And that's
I
what
love that.
the program is all about, is being reclaimed.
Amazing. I love it. And will that be ready to share below? I'm sure there'll be some links that we can share.
Yes, there will be a wait list at least on my website, and then just get on that wait list for that program to be live and launched. And I
Amazing.
do have a free community until then that really walks you through like a weekly focus of how to get back to yourself and build that trust that you have. And then I have a space in there too, like if you have something that's really coming up and you need a little bit of support to get through, there's space for there in there for that as well.
Amazing. And you're still offering your EFT tapping sessions. Is that
Yeah.
something amazing? I have loved that so much. And what's the best way for people to get a hold of you for that?
Yeah, you can DM me on any of my social media platforms to schedule that, or there's a link on my website under the EFT tapping session package. And that
Perfect.
I think is just a gorgeous way to start with
Yeah.
recognizing yourself is to get
Yes.
in one of those sessions because I give you that space to just like dump at me of
Yeah.
what's coming up. And sometimes it looks like something as simple as I just need more sleep or I need to focus on myself a little bit more. And there's a way that we can build that EFT tapping session directly for those like target moments. And then
Yeah.
once we walk through that, like something turns on and you're like, oh, there's this coming through too. And I'm like, perfect. Like, let's run with
Interesting.
that. So it's one
I
of my
love it.
favorite things to do. It really is.
Yes, I love that. I love the power of tapping. I think that's so fascinating. So I love the work that you do.
Oh, thank you.
And as far as right the future, I know you have kids. I think your kids are fairly little, but I would love to hear how do you either incorporate them into kind of your work in your daily life or just being kind of that role model for them, or what's your kind of hope for the future of young women?
Yes, so I do have two young ladies. They're 15 and 13, and then my youngest is
Oh,
3.
oh my
So
goodness.
it was really a boomerang for me to start over
Yeah, I'm sure.
after 12 years
Yes.
and it's cool because it's mine, his, and ours. So my 15-year-old
Oh,
is from my domestic violence era of
oh gosh.
life, and
Yes.
she came to me and saved my life in that moment.
Oh,
And then the 13 is his, and then the 3 is
wow.
ours. And
Oh, that's so
we really
amazing.
blended our family, and it's something that I don't talk about enough, but it really just goes to show that when you trust yourself enough to start over and
Yeah.
rebuild and build together,
Yes.
that there really is a lot to be grateful for in the seasons of your life that you walk through. And I think that I've instilled that so much in my children, and all 3 of them are girls.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're very big on building that self-independence and It's hysterical because my 3-year-old was alongside me as I was going through my EFT certification program and
Mhm.
becoming certified. So she knows all the tapping points. She'll just randomly tap. I'll catch her. I'm like, "You tapping?" She's like, "Yeah, mama." So
So cute.
and I think
Ah,
it's great to involve them in the things that I am doing, whether or not they understand, I'm not
yes.
sure.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
they come with me to networking events and
Oh
they
my
know that
gosh.
mommy is going to speak on stage and they're rooting for me. So
Wow,
I
that's
like
so
to just
amazing.
show them what's possible
Yes,
when you trust in who you are, and that's going to look very different at any given moment of your life and of your day. Even it's like, oh my gosh, am I really doing this? And sometimes
yes.
they'll come to me with like all this school drama and just like, okay, well, what do you want to choose? And how are
Mm,
you like handling this situation? So we really go through all of that emotion that comes with being a girl
yeah,
and really shifting it into this is not a weakness. This is like your starting point. This is your power portal and you get to protect your peace. So that's something
yes,
I instill a lot in my children and I feel like it really ripples out from them um
yes,
in their communities and their school and activities and everything else that they do.
yes. And their friend groups, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I think that's so important because not only are you being an example of what you could do, right, of all the possibilities, but also you're utilizing like some of the tools that you use with your clients and helping them be more, self-aware, self-aware, self-regulated,
Mhm.
right? Kind of all of those things which are so important for all of us. And so they're going to grow up with so much more of that than any of us ever got,
Yes.
which is amazing. That's awesome. Anything else that you'd like to share with us today?
Um, I wanted to go back to because I saw some things, especially within your community, of really understanding like yourself and your business. And I just want to touch on that too,
Yes.
before we go, because for me, starting my business it was like, okay, well, you're really good at this. I think you should do it. And that was one of the times that I was like, you know what? I heard this so much, but I also let myself listen to someone else, like we were talking about, and I
Hmm.
just did it. And just throwing myself out there because someone said so was a different way of listening than just getting
Blindly.
to
Yes.
you, right? So it's like
Yes.
you can hear so many other people tell you what you should be doing. And
Yes.
it took me a really long time to not only stop shoulding myself, but get to the point of discernment. And I learned this recently through a very difficult period of my life where it was almost like not breaking up with a friend, but like leaving a community, leaving a cohort. And sometimes that really sucks.
Yes.
And you don't want to have to do that.
Hmm.
But what's on the other side of getting out of something is far greater than staying there, right? And it's something that I've seen come up a lot in my life with leaving the abuse, right?
Yes.
Leaving the crappy situations, leaving a cohort.
Yeah.
And I just want to invite anyone listening to, if you feel that nudge of something's just not here for me, that it's
Ah,
okay and safe
yes.
for you to leave.
Yes.
And I just want to applaud anybody that does step out of something, for listening to themselves
Yes.
and trusting to do it.
I so appreciate that. You are right. Discernment is really the key, right? Because we can hear things and just blindly do them for shoulds or coulds or woulds, but actually being able to think about, is this something that is serving me? Is this something for my higher good? Is this really something I want to spend my time and energy and effort doing? Um, or am I just afraid of making them angry, right? Or am I just afraid of their reaction when really it's about what's going to be best for you, right? In kind of both your situations that you described. I mean, obviously, it's got to be scary leaving both of those situations, but on the other side, right, is so much more about you and so much more room for, because you never know what that door opens, right? And
Yes.
that's, I think, the important part.
Yes, it's not leaving to shut the door, it's leaving to open the door. So,
Yes,
yeah, you have to
yes,
open your house door to leave it. So, it's not
yes,
closing it, you're moving
yes.
and it's
I love
okay
that.
and safe to do it.
Yes, I love that so much. And you're so right. I think so many women are typically, there's some element of people pleasing. And so we're so worried about how it's going to, how our friend group is going to react, how our mastermind or cohort or right, whatever we're working with. But if it's not right for you, your service is much better utilized elsewhere or energy or whatever. And same with them, right? Their energies are probably better mixed with another mix of people or whatever that would be. So I really appreciate your permission for people to do that, right? Because
Yes.
sometimes people need to hear it that it is absolutely okay for you to not fit into every situation. Of course, we're all different people and right, different people jive and anyway, so I love that.
Yeah, it's okay to not fit in a certain box.
Yes, amazing. Awesome. Well, all of your links will be below and I'm so excited to be in your world and watch you grow. Thanks so much for being here.
Yes, thank you so much